Joining us live is Senator Jacqui Lambie, one of the most powerful women in the Senate. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
You've had a few wins recently.
Yeah, we have had a few wins. We've had a win on the housing debt being removed, which is great for Tasmania, which means that we can get more homes down there built for those that are less fortunate, living on or below the poverty line, and by goodness we need them. We had some fraud equalisation, some of the fraud equalisation scheme. We've gone back in and had another attack on that to give the businesses down there a bit more room to move. So, and in the meantime, just trying to catch up with what I haven't or what I missed out on in 20 months. Been back out there on the tail end of the welfare card to see how that's going. So it's been a busy 8 weeks.
Senator Eric Betts was on just a short time ago. He was previously against forgiving that debt. He says that it's not forgiven, that it's restructured, and that he has received a few key concessions, that he was happy with it. Do you accept that? Was it a compromise deal, or?
Look, I just wanted to make sure that if the debt was going to be removed, that all that money got spent on new dwellings. That was the deal that we did, and that the state government now and in the future had to still spend what they were spending on it today, with an increase with the CPI, and move it through like that so we can continue to build houses. Look, we're still going to have a massive deficit out there when it comes to housing for those living on and below the poverty line. There's no doubts about that. So we'll let them catch up on this over the next 12 months. They've already got pockets where they're putting houses. They're just going to add more to them. So we'll see how it goes, and no doubt I'll be swinging back around 12 months' time and saying, well, actually, we need more cash.
Yeah.
So we don't want the numbers to change in the Senate, Tasmanians don't. It's really good where we're sitting right now. It's great fun.
And you don't think this sets a bad precedent for the other states to start saying, hey, we want some of that cash too?
I think that, for me, Tasmania at the moment is in a position of balance of power. Our debt is relatively small compared to many of the other states that are still holding debts. But, I think it depends where the economy is going to go over the next few years, and maybe this is an option if things aren't going real well in the economy here in the country, that we look at this as part of a stimulus and look at wiping some of these debts in other states on the proviso that they spend that money in years to come on further housing and implementing and putting up more houses.
Now, you've caused quite a conversation about cashless welfare cards and saying that politicians should be drug tested if they're going to expect that of welfare recipients. Have you had anyone tell you so far that they're not happy with that? So far, every poly we've asked on the record said that they'd be happy to be tested.
Yeah, I think what's happened here is, first of all, it's not just about anyone that's on the public purse, whether that's a teacher, whether they're in the military, or they already get tested anyway. There's many places that are testing, so I don't know why you should be able to be excused yourself. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. But I think what's more relevant here right now is simply this. There are not the services out there. We do not have the drug and alcohol rehabilitation services up there. We are struggling to keep up with mental health services. And to be honest with you, I think they've got this back to front. You can't take money off someone without giving them an opportunity to be rehabilitated. What I don't want to see is people having money removed off them, which is going to put them in more financial difficulty, especially if they've got a family. They're going into rehab, they're trying to turn their life around, and the country is supporting them to do that. And in the meantime, we've already penalised them. That's not the Australian way. The Australian way is to give everyone a second chance at life. So, I think there is some problems here.
So even if the government does come through and say, yeah, look, we'll drug test all our pollies, are you going to support it then, or is this just a rubbish policy in your opinion?
Well, bottom line is they should have done that. They should have done that years ago, because they should have been leading by example. It's all right for, like I said, mining, construction. There's plenty of other places out there that do random drug and alcohol testing. But then you've got the other side of it, like I just said. The services are not there. And if the services are not there, they're not there. And I can't, for an example, we're still sending our kids, like I had to with my son, out of the state of Tasmania to go and get rehabilitated in another state. And that's not fair on those other states either. That's not fair at all. So the services are not there, and until those services are there, then I'll tell you what, this is bloody pointless.
Yeah, so you want like a cash commitment from the government to say, we'll put X amount of money into services before you support cashless welfare cards. Yeah,
I don't even think that's going to help, because they can't keep up with with mental services out there. They're miles behind there. So, I don't think they're going to be able to pull that one. They're just not going to be able to bluff their way out of this one, I don't think. I think it's just not going to work. And like I said, I'm not going to penalise someone without giving them a chance and putting themselves into rehab. I'd like a welfare recipient or anybody else that's out there to be able to step forward and say, I have a drug and alcohol problem, can I please get some help? Well, great, let's go to tutor out there. Thanks for being brave and telling us. Let's get you into the services and let me see if we can turn your life around.
Because it is quite a stigmatising thing to do to someone who's already quite vulnerable. For someone like me to say, yeah, I'd do a drug test, it's fine, because I know it doesn't have any kind of repercussions on my life. But for someone like that, they have the potential to lose so much. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, they get paid very little as it is already. And, you know, there's the other side of it. If you've already got a drug and alcohol problem, that we take more money off you, then you're going to start doing burgs. You know, that's common sense. And then you really are going to run into trouble. So we want to be able to help you. We don't want you going that way. We want to be able to say, hey, the country's got this to offer you. We're going to go in, give you a second chance at life, see if we can get you rehabilitated. Now, what happens after that, after a year or two trying to get them rehabilitated, and they continue to have to go through this destructive pattern in their lives, well, then I guess they're going to be penalised for that in the long run.
And when it comes to your demands of John Setka that he stand down, you're not mincing your words, you're quite strong in this.
Yeah, no, I've been very face-to-face with John Setka, and I've, you know, unlike many others that are too much of a coward to go and stand in front of him, I've had this discussion for hours with him. I'm asking him to stand aside for the good of all those union members out there, and there's 1.4 million of them. Otherwise, they will feel the consequences of John Setka. And that's not fair to them. The other thing is John Setka needs to realise that if these IR laws get through, then they may not be grandfathered or from the past, but I can tell you now, John Setka won't stay on the line. He'll end up going either way. So just resign, put your white flag up and walk out, mate.
What's his argument? What's he saying to you when he's saying he's not going to step down?
Well, I think he's got a group of people that are around him that are feeding into his ego. Most of them actually want John gone. John thinks that he should stay there because everyone wants him there, and that's absolute rubbish. I think John being Setka is a big bloke.
Yeah.
You know, I'm ex-military, so I don't care how big you are, but most people, there is a lot of people out there that just aren't as upfront as what I am. So I think that's making it more difficult. Bottom line is, he's done the wrong thing. He's got headline after... For Christ's sake, the man has more headlines than Jacqui Lambie does. Yeah. You know, it's time to go.
Yeah. And so do you think he will listen to you, or do you think this is just going to be a win for the government?
You know, I'd wise up if I was John Setka and stop being a bloody meathead about the situation. Otherwise, 1.4 million people are going to feel the wrath of John Setka, and that's what it's going to come down to. So, you know, if he can drop his ego and get on with it and move on with his life, but his time's up.
Jacqui Lambie, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me on.